Seriously?
Say my name.
So at the moment, my wife Persia and I are watching, it's a new show called Perry Mason, a detective show. The guy who's the lead is a Welsh guy. I grew up in Wales, and this guy, Matthew Rhys, is phenomenal. And the show is so addictive. I'm really enjoying it. So we have one episode left next week. So that's what we're fully into at the moment. Game of Thrones, because that was such an epic journey and I loved being a part of it. I loved all the different characters, watching the storylines evolve. Like many people, it was a part of my life for a long period of time, and normally every year you go, okay, the new season's coming out. Yeah, that was a hard one to let go. I would have to say the British Office. I'm a huge Ricky Gervais fan. And in fact, okay, here's another thing. I'm not sure if people know this or not, but Danielle Gillies and I spent probably 5 years of the originals quoting The Office to each other.
Oh, he's Elaine. She left you yet? Yeah. All right, see you then. She has left him. I forgot about that.
We watched the whole thing in my dressing room again, you know, to live through it again. We would quote it a lot and integrate it into our work a lot. Because I'm such a geek for video games and sci-fi and fantasy, I used to feel like that's my guilty pleasure, watching that kind of stuff. But now I've come to terms with it. I've been lucky enough to have a career now that is in those areas. It's no accident that I'm part of a vampire show and a sci-fi show, because that's the kind of stuff I want to watch, you know, and that's the kind of thing I'm drawn to. So I'm not guilty about it anymore. Oh, so there's this show on Netflix called The Last Kingdom, and it's a guy, Uhtred, who was born half Saxon, half Dane, and I just love that world. Very brutal, very violent, and very raw. I love the physicality of it, the amount of kind of combat that's there, and the relationships and the emotion of it. So I would love to go into doing something like that. I'm a big fan of some of the prolific older actors like Anthony Hopkins, who grew up very close to where I grew up. So he was a hero of mine, you know, for many years. And then like Jeff Bridges as well has always had a special place in my heart. But there is this Irish actor who's a little older than me, and he's called Andrew Scott, and he was in Sherlock playing Moriarty.
No one ever gets to me, and no one ever will.
I just think he's so very good, and I'd like to be in the same room as him and see how his process works and bounce back and forth with him for a scene, you know. I would be thrilled if I could work with him. Other than The Last Kingdom? Well, now I want to guest star in Perry Mason, because that's in my head completely. Either of those two, which are two very, very different shows. There's something about that era and that way of life that is very attractive to me, that I've done a lot of sword and sandals movies like Alexander, and then later Ben-Hur and Immortals, and I would love to do something again that kind of raw, like I say. It would be such a long time ago. And it's a weird thing because now I'm in that world. So say I think of who it is, what happens if I meet them and they say, wait a minute, I watched that interview you did on Seriously, and we need to have a little chat. No, I'm going to leave that one there, I think.
All right.